Now it should be working. Okay. Can you hear this? I'm at least... Okay, now it should work. Thanks. I guess I plugged in the microphone too late. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Well, I can't state enough how important it is to have an empty desk. It's so much easier to work. Okay. I had some kind of a palette going on here. This is a work in progress palette. Of course, you're free to steal this if you want, but I don't know. I would probably wait until it's finished and then just grab one of the finished ones. And the brush that I think I'll be using today is heavy paper. I was kind of playing around with the idea of using pastel on wood today, but then I thought that like, no, I'm not. I don't have that level of bravery in me at this moment. Not enough coffee in my system for that. How is everyone doing? Someone is texting me. Hello, Barry. I just got a text that I have myself on his screen. So I don't usually schedule my live streams beforehand, just because it's such a hassle to do everything, and I have to have like a lot of things prepared before I go live. But for this, I just thought that it's kind of more exciting to just see where the painting goes, or if it doesn't go anywhere. So whatever I'm going to make today, it's going to be a complete surprise to me as well. So keep your expectations, I don't know, low, but anything can happen. But it's kind of exciting to paint when you don't know what's gonna come out of it. I am trying to keep it as a casual, but with my creativity, you just never know. I can kind of like put in an order that this is what we would like to do today, but it might come back and say that today we are doing still life flower vases with political messages. I also went out for a walk beforehand so that Vivi can chill for the entire morning. Let's see how well that goes. I have a backup plan. I have a bag of turkey here. Hello, Peggy from Taiwan, and Sompasari, Lord Metaverse. So Lord Metaverse did start a YouTube channel then, because you have that channel name. I'm gonna check it out later. Ramses is saying, hello Mikko, I'm brand new to Procreate and painting in general. And I love your style and technique. Oh, thanks, and congratulations on starting painting. I think that's probably going to be always like really special time that you only go through once, like when you're just starting out. Have fun with like not knowing everything and discovering and learning new things, because I think the learning process is the most fun thing about painting, really. Whenever I learn something new, it's just such a great way to kind of expand what you can do from that point onwards. Not even the painting that you are working on at that point, but like what else can you now do now that you have that new technique or skill in your control. And then the combinations of like all the skills that you acquire, like those are really fun. I've always found it really exciting to kind of combine different techniques with different programs. Like you all probably know that I am like super big fan of SketchUp, the program that Google made. It has just expanded the kind of art that I can do. And whenever I've been doing concept art, I almost always like use SketchUp as blocking phase, especially when doing like difficult camera angles, because top-down perspectives, for example, like they are unspeed paintable like completely. But you can block in like really quick 3D shapes in SketchUp quite easily. I wonder if there's a setting in Procreate where I can adjust the time that I need to hold on to one of these control points before I start transforming an element in perspective, because it seems to kind of always take a little bit too much time for my patience. For that reason, I've also adjusted, like for example, if you notice me like doing color picking, like it's really quick. It's almost instant when I touch the screen with a finger. But the default version is quite slow. I don't like that. Oh, why do I wear two headphones? Because I was out on a walk with my dog. And I can't exist without music. Also, I was still working on this playlist that you're hearing right now until the last minute. One thing that nobody talks about when it comes to like being an art tuber on YouTube, that you need so much music. I mean, on this channel I go through literally thousands of unique tracks, and it's not just like any music, it also needs to kind of fit the vibe and what I like and the video topic and so on. Like for example, in my last video that was I think 13 minutes long, there are 14 different tracks in that. And as the members of this channel know, there's also a 2-hour version of a full breakdown of that painting. So in that video, there's like 2 hours of unique music, and none of which I could use in the 30-minute version at all, because the full breakdown video, it's more slow paced. I explain all the composition stuff and so on. The music needs to be kind of more fade into the background and not as active part of the storytelling. So I had all of these tracks that I had found for the full breakdown video, and like all of that was unusable for the full video, which was a surprise to me. Also, I make the soundtrack for the 30-minute version 2 times, because the first time I just wasn't happy with what I had. It just makes such a big difference when you find the right tracks. Also, it's way more fun to edit. I always make the script for a video first, and then the soundtrack. And then only after I have all of these other aspects done. I always edit to music, because it will always kind of, the rhythm will seem off if those are done in a vacuum. Tiago is also working on a castle. That's great to hear. Also, Simply Sugoi is here. Vert is saying, I bet it's hard to find music that fits with the type of video you're making. Yes. And I guess like lately I've found out that to write a good script, the tone needs to kind of like change throughout, because you want to kind of like narrate the learning process that I have gone through, and during that process like I change as a person somehow. And I think a really good video is one where you can kind of like walk through the process so that your viewer can also go through that same change, and the music should kind of help guide that process for them. I mean, like, that's the ideal. Obviously, it's like an ideal for a perfect video, but I like to give myself some slack with the quality, because like I know that I'm still quite new to this. Compared to painting, I've only done videos for like just a few years really, so it's okay to feel like a beginner at this. I think there's something that I like about all of these shapes, but like there's just too much of them, so I'm gonna need to make some hard decisions. For this sort of stuff, I might make a new layer, just like as a safety backup to fall back on, and then see if the changes that I made when I started to go crazy with it, if they made the painting better or worse. Which model of iPad do you use? Nupordas is asking. This is the M1 chip version. I wonder when the next iPads are gonna come. And do I need one? I guess it's always tempting to have like the latest possible hardware, but like honestly I felt like the leap in resolution and the number of layers that can be used in this latest one, it's hard to imagine that the next evolution will be as big. Because they're probably not going to be like slapping the Mac Pro version of chips into the next iPad. That would be kind of crazy. Let's do a vanishing point. I wish that I could only add like one vanishing point. Because I don't wanna set it as a horizon line just yet. Okay, maybe the horizon line is like about so. And I have mostly just one wall of this in view, like a silhouette, so that the silhouette reads better. Like the further apart in symmetrical way these two horizontal vanishing points are, the messier the silhouette is going to be, so that's why I don't want to put it out further than this. That's gonna have to do. I usually keep the opacity quite low because it's all the same color throughout the canvas. I mean the vanishing point grid, and that makes it kind of like easier to spot anyway. So you don't need more than 10% or something in opacity. And I want to just quickly show that from overhead camera. So now that I have the vanishing point applied, whenever I press this button, I can turn the drawing assist on and off. I did a YouTube short about this some time ago. But there, like, you can assign like whatever function that you want for that middle button between the brush size and opacity, and this is the most useful thing that I have found for me. Sarah's Konstingheter is saying, I love the purples you've chosen for the color palette today. Let's hope that they work out. I'm still a bit like iffy on purple because it's not something that I've had a lot of experience with, but I guess this would be one of those work paintings that I was talking about in the 3 art student mistakes. So this is a work painting of me trying to learn that purple. I'm really just trying to suggest mass in different areas and see how that can control the composition right now. I think my last live stream was just very scary for me because there was so much design thinking happening even in the last hour. It was just like super stressful for me. For this, I wanted to go more loose and just make these live streams like less, I don't know, high pressure situations for myself, because if I feel like these are too scary to do, then I just won't do them. And that's always an option. But I'm pretty happy with the building that came out of that design process. It's just that I guess the concept was so weird that it took a lot of trial and error to find it and the story to come together. I like the story in that piece, but who would guess that that is what that painting is about, really? So I didn't know that. So that whole story came in the process. One thing that I really like about this so far is like this pink color here, this pale, almost salmon hue. I know that this part might seem like it's very dull and muted for a lot of people, but that just makes like the editing and bringing out all of those fog layers and glows and lights. It's going to be so much more fun when I have room to work with. But if at this stage, for example, I go too dark, like for example this color, I would probably not have this in a finished palette, because as you can see, like it's really close to black and it kind of crushes a hole in the values of this piece. How long have you been teaching? I think about 6 years on and off now. Now I'm in the off phase because the concept art course just ended, and oh my god, was it a lot of work. I think I can like honestly say that I do those courses because I honestly like them, and I love working with the students and seeing how they progress and helping the ones that like actually want to be helped. Like that is really rewarding and fun for me. Also, this school that I was teaching in just recently, like they were really flexible with my ideas of like how I want to run the course and what I want to teach and how I want to grade the students. So I think that was surprising. Usually they are more picky about how they need to be done. Like for example, they had a 3D course after my part was over, and the 3D teacher was saying that like usually they do a T-pose character in different camera angles as the character design assignment in the concept art class, and I said that like, look, I've been doing like a concept art for over a decade professionally. I have never ever done a single character in a T-pose from different angles. So I don't know how relevant information that is. And they were just like, okay, it's fine. You do you. And I really appreciated that. Right now I don't have the drawing assist on, but I'm pretty sure that like with this style it's enough to just get like most of the lines right, and the illusion of perspective will be there. I don't recommend being like too fussy with it, And I definitely, if anybody has this feature in Procreate or any other application, like for example, I know that you can also use a perspective tool in Photoshop, that do not have the drawing assist on when you're sketching in your idea, because that will result in very blocky looking designs. So I recommend putting it only on when you're actually fixing the perspective stuff, not when doing design. It's really important. I think I want to do a water area here, but I'm kind of like crossing the beams. Oh well. I can dig them out later. Hopefully. Okay, and the beams. So can I select these? Are they on their own layer? That makes things so much easier. Okay, maybe I can use this as a selection. So select layer, and then I'm gonna clear that. So now that I have those holes in this water layer, okay, it's just like a reminder for myself that what is happening in the lower half of the image. And I'm thinking that maybe I can add lots of like small lamps that are reflected on the water. I think that would be cool. So I could like try to see how that looks right now. What would be considered like a warm lamp color here? I guess I'm gonna find out by just trying. Shar is asking, do you like to do live streams? If they are too stressful, maybe you could find other ways to do it, like maybe just playing music and drawing live. I feel like I would be too shy. I was definitely too shy when I started. I mean, I remember when I started doing live streams, it was just the worst. But now, like, they are honestly quite fun, but sometimes when a painting is just like not working out at all, it can be stressful. It's not really about me talking here, it's about if I waste your time by painting for 3 hours and then just like nothing comes out of it. That's what I always like fear when I start. But in the beginning, like that fear was much more real because I hadn't done like paintings like that quickly before at all. I guess over time I just got kind of used to the fact that not all paintings can be done in 3 or 4 hours, but maybe I can just have, like, for example, the visual impact there. And that really doesn't change that much over hours and hours or days of polish. It will be just the same painting, but with more details, and like the edges have been fine-tuned and so on. Like, for example, if I have like perspective mistakes at the end of this live stream, I can fix those, but they're not gonna make the painting be completely different or change the story of it in any way. Where can I follow all of your artwork? Well, I do all kinds of art, not just on this application, but others as well. And my art can be found on Instagram. You can find the link in the description of this video. I love this track. I'm really gonna shut up for a while because I love this one. It's just so good. Thank you, BH Bacon. I don't know. I like the more painterly style for today. I can't make the playlists available because they are from different music services. But in case anyone is interested, this playlist has a lot of tracks from Epidemic Sound. That is not a sponsor of this channel, but it's a really big library of music. It just doesn't have as flexible licensing as some of the others that you also will be hearing today. I like the licensing terms in Soundstripe and Artlist more. So if you're looking for music for your own business, then I would recommend those instead. Sorry, saying we all watch for different reasons. I just love to see your painting process and how you work with colors. I followed your channel for a couple of years and I learned a lot. Okay, that's cool. You found me early then. Finally got your stream. We're happy that you're here, Ace. Power Music. Travis K is asking, are you playing any video games, Mikko? Yes, I'm currently playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, which I like a lot. And then it kind of made me want to get back into Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again, because I started it earlier and then I left it for a while because, I don't know, I had stuff going on in my life and I didn't have time for it. It's a really long game. And then when I got back to it, like the battle system is so complicated that I realized that I don't know how to play this. So now that I started it from the beginning, and I've been kind of paying more attention to the tutorials because I know that they are important for my enjoyment of the game. Also, I really loved the first Xenoblade Chronicles. I think it was probably my favorite game of that console generation on the Wii. But the second one, I have to say that even though the music is just as wonderful, it really does have an amazing soundtrack. I'm not the biggest fan of the opening guitar riffs that happen in the first few seconds of the battle music, and it's a big deal because you hear a lot of battle music in any RPG. So I don't know, I wish that I could just have a setting where I could have the field music play all the time, even during battles, but no such luck, sadly. And I'm not saying that that game has bad music, it's just that like one thing in the music that annoys me. And the original Xenoblade Chronicles had amazing music too. Yasunori Mitsuda and all of the legends, basically. How are you making money as an artist now? By making art? Yes. I don't know. Maybe you were looking for a more specific answer. Like all of the obvious stuff, like commissions, licensing. Just recently, I made this home decoration project for one family that they ordered painting for their bedroom, and it's a painting that I had already painted, but it needed to be fitted into that aspect ratio. And then because they are waiting for a child, I also got to redo the forest monster painting for the child's bedroom as well, and that was really fun to work on, because there's now 3 different versions of that forest monster painting. There's one where it's the original aspect ratio, and then for the channel members back then I also made phone wallpaper, which I have as my own wallpaper, by the way. This. So this is the vertical version, and out of this I created a version that is like this tall. That still includes the birds and the mountains and clouds. So I wanted to have as many of those elements in, otherwise it would be like less colorful, and I think the mood of that painting comes from the vibrant colors. But if you like only crop it to that one area, then that effect was kind of lost. So I do feel like it's better now. And I already saw it like wallpapered on their wall, and that was really cool. I'm kind of jealous of their kid, because I would love to have like a giant ass forest monster on my wall here. I think that would be super cool. Maybe I will do it that someday. I mean, most people don't understand how awesome like really massive prints are. I think most people, when they think of big prints, they assume that it's the largest scale that you can order from in print. But if you contact the right people, you can have your art be printed like in your whole wall. I don't know if you have seen my older videos, but sometimes I was filming those in near the kitchen table, and there I have one painting that is from floor to ceiling. It's a landscape piece. And that painting is I think like 15 years old now. just blocking in some kind of skylight being reflected on some of these surfaces. And it also allows me to kind of buy a bit more value range to work with, so that I can bring elements forward in the foreground. Like these lines are way off in perspective, I just realized. I just wanted to say to Travis about Pokemon that it's a great game to kind of spend as much time or as little time as you want, because you can go out, catch a few Pokemon or gather resources and then be done, and then you still feel like you made some progress. I really like that aspect about it. I think No Man's Sky had same kind of like very rewarding addictive loop. I'm really excited that that is coming to Switch now. But I'm thinking like, should I buy it for Switch and then I can play it before going to bed, or should I have it later on PS5 or something? I don't know. I don't think graphics are that important to No Man's Sky. It's more about the exploration. Phoebe! Thank God I have the turkey bag. Whoa. Really messed up that layer merging process. So I guess this needs to be a clipping mask to make any sense. No? Okay, I'm gonna fix this because otherwise it's gonna drive me crazy. And I'm gonna see what it does for the composition too. I'm getting news about Finnish hockey. Like, Barry, at what point have I ever like talked about you about ice hockey? Have I ever said in any way that I'm interested in how Finnish is doing in ice hockey matches? Also, what do you care? Have you ever watched ice hockey? I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm like happy that some people are playing sports well, but it does have nothing to do with me. I don't understand why people get like so nationalistic about sports. Because even if your country is playing some other country, it's not like you're there. It's not like you have anything to do with the results or the contribution that the athletes are making to that game. Okay, now that hole is kind of like taking up way too much attention, so I'm kind of breaking it. Do you play Pokemon on Switch? Yes. Thanks for stopping by, Travis and Tina. Also, Lord Metaverse, you should play the new Pokemon, because I know that you will like it. It's your kind of game. Trust me on this. I know what kind of stuff you like to play. I don't know if this is like the main castle area, or it could be some sort of like port area or a side of a castle. You know how they built like lots of walls before the actual thing? This looks like that from an angle that doesn't need that much guarding from outsiders. Okay, I'm gonna need some lights here to be less vague about the sides of these different areas. So I'm gonna do a new lighting layer. No, actually, I'm gonna do a whole screen thingy. And then just get the saturation down, because I still want to have a lot of room for saturation to work with later. Then I'm gonna put this into luminosity so that I don't have all of that saturation. How am I doing on time? Let's check the clock. 58 minutes. Yeah, I think that's not bad. It's definitely a painting idea. Okay, I wanna have some like light to kind of get me excited about the values in this piece. I think this one tower could be more interesting, so that's something that I could work on the design side of this piece. And before I go all crazy with colors, I think I should do it right now. More interesting tower is probably this one, because this tower is happening almost right at the middle line of this painting, and I don't want to overemphasize that, so I think I'm gonna have more weight on this side of the composition. Hi Mikko, are you using any reference right now? Well, I've done lots and lots of castles from reference, so not right now, but that doesn't mean that references are important. Always have reference. Even when you don't feel like you need one, have reference anyway. I'm afraid that if I say that I'm not using reference at the moment, that the people will read that as me saying that like don't use reference, or that is somehow like a preferable way to make art. That is not true. Like, always have reference when you can get one, and if at all possible, take your own damn reference shots. I mean, like, it doesn't make sense that some people go to Google to get pictures of trees that they have outside of their window, or cars that you could just take photographs of yourself, because that way when you see it with your own eyes, you also have more information about how the three-dimensional shape works, and therefore how to paint lights on it. But if you only see a picture, then it's like really hard to form that knowledge in your head, how to paint it in your situation and in your lighting that you have in your piece. And if you can't get reference shots by yourself, like for example, like I don't have reference pictures that I have taken myself out of all of the underwater paintings that I do, like those creatures, then the next best thing is to have as many different angles of that creature that you're studying currently, so that then you kind of understand better how that three-dimensional shape works. Also for animals, I recommend not only Googling the animal that you are painting, but Googling, for example, a skull. That can be really beneficial. Just makes the whole process a lot easier. Hello Manning, welcome. I'm barely cutting to my morning coffee. Yes, well, I've started without you. 5:30 p.m. Oh, it's 8:30 here. This is not all on one layer, but now it is. This is its own separate layer. These layers don't have anything. No, they do. They have lights here. Yeah. So this is what is happening on this layer. In fact, I think I could just, at this point, up the resolution. I don't need that many for like editing the lights and stuff, so. But I'm gonna keep working on these safety net layers before I merge them down, just so that I don't accidentally ruin the whole thing. ...147 subs, but only 72 watching. yeah, live streams are really not good for YouTube. I mean, if you want to grow your YouTube channel, don't do live streams. That's my suggestion. Also, it's not just mine, it's actually like the official advice from official YouTube training that I was taking part of in last fall. People from YouTube said that live streaming is not like currently a good strategy to do. So I basically do these because I enjoy doing them and I get some art done. I think it's fun. So I think with normal YouTube videos, you kind of like give this impression that painting is super fast and easy, and I always kind of feel bad about that. So I think it's important to show that the process takes some time, a lot of time, most of the time. I draw animal characters and I paint a little. Yeah, that sounds cool. Manning Johnstone is saying, I don't get notified, so it's just random that I see them. That's a shame. But it's also YouTube. YouTube doesn't push live stream content. Like, it's just what it is. You're either fine with it or you don't do live streams. I don't know, like, do you guys have your own YouTube channels? Like, is that what people do these days? For me, it was like a really big decision to start doing any videos at all. But I'm glad I started. I think I should have started like way earlier, honestly. Because nobody would have cared. That's my biggest mistake, really. I thought that people care. They don't. And like, that's wonderful. That's the best news that I can give you about doing anything on social media. If you're afraid of something failing, like, don't be. No one cares. And that might sound depressing, but it's, at least for me, it's very encouraging. There's so little at stake with doing anything creative, really. Even painting. If you do a bad painting, like, nothing permanently bad will happen because of it. We'll just learn from the process and keep going. Um, I'm a freelancer, so I post my work on Instagram, but no YouTube channel as of now. I feel like for a freelancer, Instagram is not just a good marketing tool anymore. It's just about videos now. And I feel like it would be really hard to sell a commission or commissions permanently on just reels, basically, because that's what Instagram is pushing still, and that is their main focus now. It's not about pictures anymore, it's about reels, and you really see that in the numbers of engagement as well. Doesn't really, I'm not gonna get upset about it, because like social media platforms are going to change, they're gonna keep changing, and that's just the game that you have agreed to play. But right now Instagram like is just not as important to me anymore like it used to be. It used to be like the source of all of my clients, basically. I don't hate doing reels or YouTube shorts. It's just I can't do everything. There's just no time for me to dedicate equal amount of time to everything. And right now it's just the kind of content that I care the least about. So I don't feel like I should focus on something that I don't feel like really passionate about myself. Whenever I get into this like loop of watching, for example, YouTube shorts or Instagram reels, I always feel like I have just wasted a huge amount of time, and I kind of feel guilty about that. So that's my relationship with that kind of content. I don't think it's that important to my well-being at all. I mean, honestly, if I never did it, I would probably get more stuff done and wouldn't miss out on a whole lot of important things. Also, when I'm writing a script for a video, there's so much editing. Like most of the writing is about me kind of like deleting entire chapters about what to talk about and how to present the idea in the most short way possible. But some things just require a bit more explanation. At least like the kind of concepts that I am interested in. I'm not the type of person that is interested in small talk, for example. So the topics are kind of heavy sometimes, but for that reason I think they require a bit more time. Not just for me to explain, but I do think that it's important for the viewer experience to kind of also give them some space to think about it, because I am kind of, in most cases, trying to go for that change that happens in the viewer. Like that's the ideal viewing experience for me. Then you're a little bit of a different person after the video than before. I don't think that is possible even in theory in a YouTube short or a reel that I would make. At least not with my skills. Damn it, that was on the same layer. What is your work schedule? Santo is asking. I usually wake up around 5, but I don't start working at 5. I usually play some video games for about an hour and then have my morning coffee, and then I go out for a walk with Vivi. Then when I come back, then I start painting, and then I usually paint until 5 or 6. I was working with this game company last week, so my work days were a bit longer. There was this concept art piece that just needed a lot of details to kind of like explain the whole look that I wanted to have in that, so I ended up doing quite long work days for that. I'm really happy with the end result. I don't know if they liked it. Sometimes maybe my ideas could be a bit too crazy. Sander, that I cannot say. And the same goes for pretty much like all of the commission work that I do. I don't tend to post like any of my commissions on my Instagram, for example. It's because of the NDAs. And it's just like a hassle to keep tabs on like what things you can post and what you can't post, and then I just decided that like I'm gonna focus this energy on making more work and less about being an accountant or a PR manager on those individual pieces of artwork. Because the NDAs for like each commission can be like very different. One of my favorite designers pointed out, because IG is so reel-based, you can find yourself in a niche just by being that artist that shares static work. Yeah. I've been training to draw for a year, and this year I'm much better at drawing. Yeah, that's good. Now I will try to do landscape drawings. Landscapes are fun. There's just so much that you can do with the landscape. I think it's always an interesting challenge. Okay, so this layer is empty. I'm gonna try some blue flames because the reasons. Okay, blue flames. Good. Maybe some of these can also light up the scene somehow. I'd have to see about that. Mikko, can you please tell your means of getting clients? Like which platforms and any sort of advices, if any. It's mostly has been Instagram, but these days I get a lot of contacts through just like this YouTube channel. And it's also other people sharing my artwork. So sometimes people say that like they have found me through Pinterest, or a friend that shared my picture on Twitter or something. I have like almost no people following me on Twitter, so it's not really about the volume of people that follow your work, but it's about, I think, the work itself. Like, is it something that people want to buy? I don't think I have like that much more clients now than 4 years ago, even though the online visibility of my work is completely different. It's just about the right people that can be clients seeing them. So you do need to also like kind of get lucky. The kind of people that find your artwork. And I'm not picky about what kind of things that I post. So it's only like the commission work that I don't post online because of the NDAs. But everything else that I do, like literally everything, like every single piece of art that I do on my free time, I post online in some form. And obviously not all of your art is going to be as good. You are going to have like paintings that kind of like don't end up getting the same kind of like traction online, but I don't think that means that that painting is bad. it doesn't really mean anything else except that algorithm didn't pick it up or whatever. I think it's important to understand that popularity doesn't mean good art at all. I could keep saying that until I'm blue in the face, but people will keep making this mistake anyway. And I don't mean that about like the way that you see other people's work, but like the way that you see your own art. I think when you are a professional artist, you already know if you have done everything possible to make that painting a good painting or not. You have your own checklist. Like I teach my own checklist in my concept art classes. But that's the same that I use for myself, like for my own art. And then I just decide like, okay, now the painting is done. I have done everything that I could. There it is. Like the greenish tint to it, so I'm gonna keep it. Sandra is saying, I know what you mean. I once did icons for a phone company and the paperwork to sign was insane. Yes. And you don't want to sign anything like that quickly. You do want to read it. Even if you can't afford a lawyer, like it's just, if there's something that you don't understand, then you can ask or have language be changed. I have had language be changed in contracts because I felt like it could have been interpreted in a way that is not optimal for me, even though that was kind of like a long shot, but you still want to be extra careful. And if they do kind of like have the best intentions, then making those changes is not going to be a big deal. for most clients. But if for some reason they get like super, I don't know, angry about you asking for changes to the contract, then I don't know, it's not a good sign about what that says about the client. When deciding what kind of like clients that I want to work with, like it really matters if I like them. For most clients, I don't have time to work with them anyway, and it can be so stressful when a client relationship is difficult, and it can like really make the end product be worse as well. So to make sure that I can kind of like give the best possible service that is in my abilities, I often kind of like make sure that like we like each other first before accepting a commission. I think that stuff is like really not talked about enough. I don't think it's still big enough. Sorry, I know that I have copied this like 1,000 times, but I just want there to be enough range for this change to make sense. Okay. Popularity means more views and more YouTube monies. Well, I think you would have to be making like 10 times more views with videos to make like any significant paycheck from YouTube with just ad money. It's not a plan that I recommend to people. And I know that most people probably already know how little like AdSense money actually is, but it's not something that you should kind of like plan your future on. The most common like thing that I have noticed that I need to tell to people on Instagram that like their future plan is to make art full time and then just sell prints. Like also not a plan. Don't count on print sales because like it's really not a lot of money. I just want people to have like realistic expectations and an actual like workable plan if they want to go like freelance, that it is work and it does require like full-time attention to make it work. I used to think naively that I could kind of like do art as a side hustle from my boring office job and then like slowly gravitate towards working freelance. But this is not the case, honestly, because freelance art commissions are so different than you doing them as a side hustle. And it's mostly about the money, because I literally cannot afford to do commissions for too cheap. Like I said, I can't do most commissions that are requested, but more than that, there are tons and tons of requests that ask me how much does a commission cost, and that can be somebody who wants just a picture painted for themselves, like as a person, and they are not at all ready to pay the price for that, because you don't need to just pay me for the hours spent on working on that illustration. You also need to pay me for the time that it took me to learn the skill and to kind of like take care of myself. I need to go to the grocery shop, buy myself some food. I need to buy myself some socks every now and then, bus tickets, all of that stuff. Like that now has to be in the cost of a commission. It's not just about how many hours I painted this, but what kind of salary is like even sensible for me to spend time on a commission, because otherwise I would be paying money to a client to make a painting for them. And as much as I would like to have that kind of freedom, I don't. So the most common like answer to like those sort of discussions is that like they don't understand that commissions are so expensive, which I understand, and I think it's important to get that stuff out of the way as early as possible, because those sort of communications, they do take a lot of time. I just noticed yesterday that I have an important email from Tuesday that I completely missed because it had been buried under these other emails. Hame, don't say that your art is embarrassing. It's not. Everybody goes through the learning process, absolutely everybody. And it doesn't make sense that you look at your old or current works that way, because you're basically telling yourself that this is not worth doing. It is going to take a lot of time and a lot of practice, but you kind of have to start also learning how to like the stuff that you are already making, because otherwise you're just gonna run out of motivation. You have to feel like the work that you're putting into it is worth doing, and that your ideas are worth doing, even if the way that you're outputting those ideas at this time is not ideal or where you want to be. I really like the texture of this brush. Sander is saying, one client had board meetings about every little change to my design. That's funny. It was so frustrating. Well, this is something that you can actually have an impact on in the way that you negotiate your commissions. So for avoiding this sort of stuff, I recommend kind of having a price tag for the edits also. So for all the commissions that you do, you probably have a sketching phase that you agree that you will provide 2 to 3 or 4 different sketches for different ideas for the client to approve on. And then the same paper should also say that, like, after that step is done, this is like for traditional commissions, like for example book covers or stuff, that you can do 2 comment rounds. And in these comment rounds, the clients can suggest tweaks that are more to their liking, and you can adjust the image accordingly after those comment rounds. But the comment rounds are not for major composition changes. That is what the sketching phase is for. And if the client wants to decline the sketches, they can like stop the commission at that point and then pay only for the sketches. Or if they want to have like these endless tweaks, then they have to also agree that they will pay for more changes. But like, I don't recommend negotiating this part of the workflow in that part of the process. I think it's something that should already be kind of like obvious for both of you. Silk is saying, I have been having trouble knowing what to practice. Do you know some things I could practice? Well, Silk, it's really impossible for me to answer that question without knowing what kind of art you make and where are you having difficulties with. Also, what are you interested in? What do you want to do? And what do you actually like doing? Like, those would be things that I would need to know before like just handing out that kind of advice, because otherwise it could be like even more harmful than helpful. Does this layer have something? No. So if I know what you want to do and what you like to do, how are those two different, and where are you at right now with those things? I think based on those, you could kind of find the areas that you could practice and then have consistency with them. I mean, don't practice like different things every 2 months, like stick with one area that you are practicing until you see like clear improvement in that, instead of just like jumping from one area to another and then feeling frustrated that you're not progressing in everything, because that is not going to happen. That I know for sure. What would D is asking, what would you suggest for increasing resistance to worry when painting? I'm trying to like kind of parse what you mean by that. So what would you suggest to increase the resistance to worry about things when you're painting, so that you wouldn't worry when you're painting? I can only give you like a general answer, but like for this, the most common thing is that like people time travel when they are painting. They are thinking already about how people see their artwork, what are they going to think about that piece of art, and is it worth making? These are all kind of like nonsense things that like you can't have answers to while painting, and it's just kind of like better not to worry about it at all. It's not really up to you what people think about your art. But if you keep thinking about that stuff, then you're not gonna be there and present for the art, because it does need your attention to get better. Basis Loaded is asking, how do you just paint freely and not get caught in the trap of using tons of masks? I seem to do that in Procreate too much. I don't know if there's anything bad about using tons of different masks, so I don't know. You're kind of asking me to kind of fix a problem that you have, but I don't know if you have a problem. It's just for this painting and this painting alone. I think it's important that most of the elements are done in a single layer. So that's why I keep merging everything to this kind of like base layer all the time, and that keeps the look kind of more consistent and having this like painterly look. That is not the look that is like optimal for all paintings though, so I don't want to say that this is how all paintings should be done, because it's definitely not true. I think the most difficult thing for me about art teaching is not just about communicating about some concepts that are mostly abstract. Sometimes I struggle with even Finnish language to explain some things because there are no words for the effect that some kind of visual component can have on a composition. But it's a real thing and you still need to explain it. So then you usually have pictures and try to have as many examples as you can. But those are just to get around the fact that there are no words sometimes for what you are teaching. Also trying to express things in a way that allows for people to have like their own ownership of their creativity. I think that's a problem with a lot of YouTube art tutorials, is that they kind of like tend to have this way of explaining how art should be done. And I understand that for somebody who is like new to art, that it might be very comforting to have these like very clear instructions that like, here's how you make a painting, but that's how you make a picture, that's not how you do art. And those are very two different things. So being okay with not having easy answers, I think that's also something that takes practice, honestly. I kind of like the way that these kind of geometric forms are blending in with the sky, and you can't quite tell where the buildings end and where the sky begins. Kanoven is asking, how do you keep your color palette so unified? When I have a lot of elements in a painting, like for example this piece kind of like has a lot of stuff going on, usually what helps is that I try to limit the colors to as few colors as possible. It's always easier to add more colors than it is to take away those colors. So if you kind of can have some restraint and not get yourself into a situation where you have too many colors and you're losing focus in your painting, then you're just gonna make things easier for yourself that way. But for those who were here when this stream started and you saw just how muted and dark desaturated colors I was using, like it's really hard to kind of, as a painter who is like working on that painting, to be with that uncertainty and then just like let it evolve slowly, because it's so tempting to add very bright, contrasty, saturated colors just to kind of like get you excited about the painting. Especially when you're doing a live stream, because I know that if I'm being like brutally honest, I'm pretty sure that there's like some part of my brain that kind of wants you guys to like this painting while I'm already making it. So there is like an additional pressure to get to that like end, that visual impact part of the painting process quicker. But to get there, I still need to kind of have restraint and say to myself that like this is a process. I'm gonna keep working on it until I get to that part where I can use those like saturated colors, and it's going to be worth it. You just have to be patient. And you get better at patience, really. It's just about going through the same process enough times to understand that even if it takes time, it doesn't mean that the painting has gone bad or it's not working. It just means that it's not ready yet. That's all that it means. But if you're the type of person who says that like, I don't paint often, but when I do, I expect immediate and remarkable results, then that's a problem, maybe. Hello to Netherlands. I love your work. Thank you. Mario Lane? That's a difficult name. I think like all the words there are really difficult for outsiders to pronounce. I mean, Finnish is a notoriously difficult language to learn. But I think when it comes to pronunciation, Dutch must be more difficult. I wish I had more coffee. What can you do? Not enough preparation for this. But I guess like the painting idea is coming along, so for the rest of this live stream I could just, instead of focusing on details, I could make sure that like the whole idea is there. Just the things that improve the atmosphere. Definitely need some layers of fog, for example. And then maybe like bigger pillars of rock or something in the foreground to have more organic details. What colors are these though? I think for rocks, like it helps to kind of like first paint like a very like low polygon version of the rock. And then depending on how close to the camera that is, you can kind of go in, like add more finer details. Fog. I said fog and I'm gonna do fog. For this I can use the texture of the brush to get a bit of like that paper texture in view. Ipsai saying, I'm sitting a lot while painting. It contributes to my back pain. Yes, I can feel that. I think for me, more ergonomic position for painting is honestly when I am curled up like Samus Aran on my couch with the iPad. To me, it seems like really ergonomic, even though it looks terrible. But I can't do any like painting videos like that, so I only do commission work in that position. But for that reason, I've spent a lot of this week curled up like a ball with my iPad. I'm sorry for painting upside down. I know that it must be like really frustrating to watch because you can't really see what the painting is in this position, but it just helps for me to kind of see the painting in a really abstract way. Like it should work even if you don't know even what it is, just as an abstract blob of shapes and lines. And to get my brain out of like the things of representational aspects of the image, it kind of like helps me to kind of like yank that connection cord in my brain when I flip the whole canvas like upside down. It's just much easier to judge those other aspects that way. Sorry, saying that's the best thing about iPad for artists, I think. It's mobile and it's much less painful. Yes, but I would have to say that like the best thing about iPad for artists is not Procreate, but it is this stylus. Like it's much better than even in the most expensive Wacom products. The other graphics tablets, they just don't come even close to the response speed that iPad currently has in the stylus. Also, this is just like way less clunky than these. I mean, like, they literally make sounds when you move them. When I clean up this painting, I'm gonna be careful of like not destroying like everything that I have done, because when you get to the cleanup stage, it can be tempting to kind of like overwork a painting, but like all of these kind of like scratchy lines that make the painting at this point, like they are part of the mood. So I'm gonna try and not to destroy that. Also, I wanted to say about back pain that it's... I don't think I have any right to say this, but it's important to take care of your like own health. I have weightlifting class in a few hours, quite soon. And I've been training my back a bit more this year. It does help. I mean, definitely get some like professional help for this. There are tons of YouTube channels that can give you better advice on this topic, but just being active and doing things that kind of support your back muscles, I think that's important. Where are the red lights? Here. I think it's like getting there. Like I said, some live streams are not that stressful. I think this one hasn't been that stressful because I don't know, I felt like I had a lot of faith in this painting. And then sometimes it's just interesting to kind of like be also an observer and see where it goes, even when you don't know where it's going. I always feel like there can't be too many spikes in a castle. I love doing them. I'm way beyond the point of thinking that if I have too many of them, like that's for somebody else to worry about. And if they feel like I have too many spikes in my castles, like they are free to do their own castles. Okay, I really don't want to drag this whole live stream as long as the previous one, because I told myself that I'm not going to do something that long. Because honestly, when I did that super long live stream, you kind of feel depleted as a human being. You forget that you need to have liquids and eat like a normal person, and then the rest of that day was just me trying to survive on the couch. So I don't want that to be happening, especially since I have to be in the gym soon. But I'm pretty happy where this is going. I'm gonna do what was I saying? Few more things, because I'm just impossible and don't know what's good for me. whole copy canvas. Like this corner of the painting is really important to kind of like keep the saturation composition together. Maybe like mid-level mist. I really shouldn't, but I'm going to. Like a little bit here. One good thing about like having that vanishing point already decided, that it's kind of easier to paint clouds and mist in perspective now that I know where those vanishing points are. Okay. Just a bit of blur. maybe blur is not always the answer. Sometimes when you want to kind of have less emphasis on one area, all you really need is just like less contrast in that zone. And that's usually a better solution than soft airbrushed edges. I'm gonna cheaply just recycle this one thing over here. This is, I'm going to break apart a little and then erase it. This way I get a little bit more definition into this corner. But this is like the only area where I'm using very low opacity brushes, because I don't want to kind of direct the eye into that corner, because there's nothing important there for people to see. So if you're gonna have soft edges in your painting, put them in the corners, because that's a handy way to direct people back into what you want them to be looking at. Okay, and that's a painting. I'm gonna quickly read the rest of the chat stuff before I sign off, but this is it. Maybe I should like do like curves a little bit too. And let's do that. Okay, chat. Is there still a chance to get the Snow brush? So Snow brush was exclusive for channel members last year. If I do a best of collection of like the membership brushes, then for sure Snow brush is going to be included, because that's one of my favorite brushes that I have made for that. I'm not sure if I will include pastel on wood though. I will include pastel on wood on membership if I use it on these live streams, but I kind of have to lead the way and show that I'm brave enough to use it before I push that challenge to anybody else. Pastel on wood is not an easy brush to use. Snow is easy brush. But if I do a best of collection, I promise that Snow will be included. Mikko, what toppings do you put on pizza? Well, bitter tears, I guess, because I don't eat pizza. I'm still trying to lose weight. Thanks so much for sharing with us, Sander said. Okay, thank you, Shar, thank you, Sander, and Dragorsis Tarot Orsi for being here, and I see you guys in the next live stream. I hope that you guys got some art done as well during this process. I kind of like the painterly look. This is one of those paintings that, like, for me it's really scary to go back in and like fine-tune some elements, because I really don't want to ruin it, because I think the best thing about this is the brushstrokes. So hopefully I will be able to do that. I'm gonna go and work out and then maybe get back to this later. But thank you guys for joining the stream, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.